Who's up next in the Golden Share? Join hosts Amy Noobsome and Christina Vidovich as we interview the speakers of Washington, D.C. 2026. Women Getting Visible, the global leader in visibility conferences for women, where amazing women get in the room to get visible. So excited for this special episode, our Speaker Washington, D.C. 2026 episode, and the amazing women in this room. I'm Christina Vidovich, the visibility strategist for Women Getting Visible.
And I'm Amy Noobson, I'm the growth strategist. And today we have Tiana. Now I'm just trying so hard not to mess up your name, and I did it. Oh my goodness. That's what I love about live streaming, right? I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Yes, don't worry about it, Amy. It's perfectly fine. Hi, everyone. My name is Tiana Locke. Okay. I'm a podcaster as well as a podcast brand strategist, helping podcasters with engagement and audience growth. So that is pretty much me. Thank you for having me on this amazing platform.
I love it. I love it. Let the podcaster introduce herself. That is amazing. So
Should
amazing.
have done that from the beginning.
Oh, this is fantastic. So, Tiana, I am thrilled to have you in the room in DC, and we are splitting off in 2 tracks, and you and I are going to be leading the afternoon track for podcasters, and others will head off into the author side with Amy. But wow, girl, you are just amazing, a podcast strategist. So tell me, what made you move into podcast strategy?
Okay. Wow. This is a loaded question. So first and foremost, I started podcasting back in 2023 up until now. And before doing that, I was doing a lot of like video producing work, working with brands, working in marketing, video production, editing, and things like that. So I was able to take all of those tools. I learned about storytelling, about how to structure this brand, like even copywriting, because all of that gets involved in it, right? With marketing and social media. And fun fact, I've been doing social media before it was cool to do it. When I was doing it, it wasn't cool to do it. Now everyone does it. So, I was able to take all of those skills that I learned to basically bring that to my podcast. And because I was able to grow my own podcast in like a little under 2 years to, 50,000 downloads, 94% retention rate, 13 million plus social media views, all of that, 450 YouTube views, it's a lot. It's a lot. And the fact that I was able to do that with the skills that I learned throughout my work over my career, that's when I was like, you know what, I'm going to help other people do this because they really don't know. And to me, it comes easy, but that's because I've been down the career path that I've been in, and I've worked with like different brands at different ad agencies. So I learned these things over time. Also, this is a little fun fact about me. I always wanted to be a writer at first. So when I went to school, SUNY Cortland, first I went in as a professional writing major. Then I realized I didn't like it, but I obviously learned a lot of tools also when it comes to like structuring stories and knowing how to write pretty much. So yeah, that was back. I graduated 2017. Geez, we're in 2026. You do the math. I'm not doing the math. I suck at math. So that's me. That was the pivot for me.
Yeah.
That's a really amazing, for any podcast to be able to get that. I feel like we should tell people, the audience, what your podcast is.
Yes, I will let the audience know. So the podcast is the Petty Headquarters, and it is an entertainment and pop culture podcast that talks about reality TV shows. We recently recapped Love Island season 8, and what makes us different is that, yes, we're entertaining. Yes, we do a little shit talking here and there. However, what makes it different is that we analyze the psychology of like people going on these shows, but also just like what women are putting themselves through, or just anyone in general putting themselves through to go on these shows. And, sometimes there can be a little exploitation involved. So we also highlight those things as well. Like, yes, it's still entertaining. Yes, all that good stuff. But it's important to talk about the psychology and like, is there trauma involved, So we talk about those things too. And I know when you hear the name, people don't think that. But when you hear it, yeah, we get deep. We get deep.
Yes. And you know what I love about that from, my background as a psychologist is just that, because we've talked about in the psychology world where they won't do certain experiments anymore because of the trauma, because of certain things. But you turn on that reality show where they're pushing people. Like, I will never forget, it was down from 3 contestants down to 2, and they had to eat horse intestines, and the one ate 13 inches. So the other one to win would have to eat 14. And I'd be like, if I eat half an inch, I'm still in. I just didn't win that challenge,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the psychology, is such a wow. So this is reality TV is such a great place for these psychology studies today.
Agreed. Because a lot of people, it's so easy to just look at it and think, oh, trash, da 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 da. But ask yourself why humans like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a psychology behind that as well, where people not only like to follow other people's life journey, but then they also kind of like to live vicariously through other people. But then they kind of like to watch people suffer. So there is a little, I don't know, guilty pleasure, I guess they like to call it, when it comes to certain reality TV shows, and people just like drama.
And
just
how
like
They do.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm giving you drama right now. Like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you also kind of brought up a good point too, is podcast is also an opportunity for us to get to understand and know somebody else's world, right? And that's kind of why we do it. We want to know who we're talking to or introduce an idea.
Yep.
So to me, that's what podcasting came about and why it's so interesting for people to listen to, because we get to create a different world that maybe somebody may not have known about.
Right. And that honestly just goes into basically how I teach podcasters on how to increase their audience growth and engagement, right? My biggest thing is storytelling, and how like storytelling really just transforms your podcast. And a lot of people don't realize that. So when we talk about reality TV, and when we talk about your favorite movies or your favorite book or your favorite TV show, there is a lot that all of those things have in common, and that's storytelling. So there are so many different elements that even make up a story, from like resolution, conflict, characters, plot, theme. All of those things are the reasons why people come back and tune in for more. Whether it's a YouTube video or a newspaper or a magazine article, really doesn't matter. They all follow the same thing. Even reality TV, they know who their characters are. They know what the conflict is. There's a resolution. There's a driving factor. There's a theme. There could be a reward. So there are a lot of these elements follow the same formulas. And if you know how to apply that to your podcast, then that right there could be a game changer.
And I love that storytelling, the idea of thinking through your idea in your podcast prior before. Because I remember my husband coming home and he goes, "You will never know who I just met today." And I'm like, because we lived in Fargo, we never met anybody that was interesting or, you see on TV. He goes, "That really bitchy lady," when I say it, because she owns this, right? She was on the one of the cooking shows with the desserts and everything. She goes, "Oh my God." And I got to know her. She's the sweetest, most wonderful woman ever. Mm-hmm. And she's like, every time they play my episode on these shows, I know, because I get flooded with emails. And she's like, it just comes through. She goes, "I played the part that the network wanted me to play."
Right. And that's
what we don't always know too, is, are you playing a part, or are you going to be who you are?
Right.
What is your narrative?
Are you asking for me specifically what my narrative
I was just kind of like, it's kind of like we want to ask, ourselves when we're creating our podcast, what is our narrative?
Exactly. And that goes back to like knowing your identity, because whatever your narrative is, that's how you're going to show up. That's your identity, because people want to get to know you. Going back to like, people want to learn about your story, whether it's your podcast living through you, it doesn't matter. Like, you are the face and you should show up as such. Then there is your niche, right? Who you're talking to, because those two go hand in hand in terms of your identity and who you're speaking to. that is just gonna combine. So I think that you bring up a really great point. I did do a video where I asked a couple of people like what role they play in their podcast, and I asked, are you the comedic relief, are you the narrator, are you the villain, are you the main character? And a lot of people said narrator. And it's interesting because in my podcast, I think I used to classify myself as main character, even though I still think I am. But there are people that will classify me as a villain, which is so interesting. And I think that's just because, like, I just keep it really real with like my takes on things. And I think that's how you develop your identity. You just have a stance and you stick to it, and that's it. And you support that. And that's all you can really do. And some people really do struggle with that.
Wow. I love that take on it. I really do. The villain, the narrator, the main character.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to discuss this one, Amy, too. I love this.
Like, which one are we? I don't know.
Right. What are you guys? What?
So fun because, when you were talking about the back end of it, I love, for me, the nitty gritty, the backside. What is it like? When I'm watching a movie, I'm just the same. I have the closed captioning on so that I catch every word, and you catch words that aren't even been portrayed any longer, but they were in the original script that are still there.
Yeah.
And so I look at that swatch from a director producer level of how this was put together, because that to me is so much fun, the angle. And like when you are deconstructing and reconstructing podcasts for others, you're kind of playing that role too.
Exactly. And then it comes out like that because, again, going back to what you said, I'm looking at things through a director and producer lens as well. So, and because I have that background and the work that I've done, I bring that to the pod. So it's like, not only am I obviously like the host, right? One of the hosts, but when I'm, curating things and thinking about different ways to like scale, I am thinking from a producer standpoint, the same way you mentioned Amy, like, that one person on that show, she played into the part that the network wanted her to play into. So now I'm the podcast host of this podcast, but I'm also the network. So I know how to pick certain clips that I know will reach specific audiences and will increase engagement. And that's a skill, but that's also because like I know how to tell the story. And it's like, whether you agree or not, that doesn't matter. It's the fact that you're engaging with it, and I clearly showcased a narrative that you sucked up.
Yeah, because one of the things that you were always telling us is engagement is something that podcast we always want, but it's also a struggle sometimes to get that. And I imagine using that narrative, that producer lens helps you get that engagement because you're creating that story. And you're inviting the engagement in by using that lens.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that a lot of people, when they are, for example, they want to get that engagement and they're repurposing clips, right? So to bring people back to their show, they're just using random clips. And that's the thing. Like they need to be actually structuring it up where they're starting with a hook. And that's where most people like drop the ball.
Yeah, because you talk about storytelling, and it's like that age-old question of a podcasting, like, how long should a podcast be? Should it be 10 minutes? Should it be an hour? And I'm like, thinking to your point, it's like, what's it going to take you to tell the story?
Exactly. That's it. Like, I don't really think there needs to be, oh my God, it needs to be that. No, it can be however you want it to be. However, now if you're starting out, you're not someone that's famous. Why is your podcast 3 hours long? Let's be real. Let's be real. You're starting out. You're trying to grow your audience. A 3-hour episode back to back is just going to lose the retention completely. People are going to fall off. Like, what are you talking about for 3 hours and you're a new pod? I'm so confused. I feel like only the top ones can do that at this point. Like, what? So, yes, I agree. But at the same time, with this new, I guess, age of digital media that we're living in, where people have short ass attention spans, you're going to have to hook them in real quick. And then if they come back and they keep coming back and you develop a loyal fan base and audience, then you could probably, test with that. But to be honest, ask your followers what they want to, because people are busy. No one's listening to 3 hours, especially if they don't even know you like that. Like, go the audience first.
You got to send them some popcorn before they show up for that one.
Right. Like, why? I've seen that too, time and time again, where like, they want to grow, but then each episode is like 3 hours, and then, your episode titles don't even match what you're talking about. So like that could just mess up visibility in itself.
Yes.
There's so much that goes into it.
And I noticed, even because I love helping people with their stories, but you're like, oh my God, that was an amazing end. And then they keep going. And then you're like, oh, that was another good, amazing end. And then they keep going. And you're like, you got to stop.
Yeah.
You got to stop. You got to learn how to end the episode, end the story.
Yeah. State your point, state your supporting factor, and your close. Very simple.
And you're like, walk away.
Yeah. And I think that's just really like a good rule to follow. I know sometimes it's hard. Like, of course, you're going to slip up, have limited side convos. But if you can keep side convos to like a minimum, like that also helps too. See, there's just so much that goes into storytelling. It's more than just the word storytelling.
I agree. And that's where we're so excited to have you on stage to kind of tell about some of these strategies, how to get engagement, how to think through your podcast before you even open that screen to hit record.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. The structure, episodes, like knowing exactly how things are going to be streamlined so that you don't find yourself rambling, for sure.
Because we've all done it, and then we're like, goodness, I don't want to. Please don't watch that episode.
We've all done it. I've done it. I understand. Like, I am not perfect. Like, but I had to
keep
learn
doing it, right? That's the whole point. Learn.
Right. Exactly. And then I had to like learn, like, a lot of those skills that I have now. So. That's
done it so beautifully too. I mean, your podcasts are interesting, engaging, even the variety and the thought. You can see the thought that's gone through them. So I encourage everybody to go out and watch them, because I guarantee you'll get that same energy on the stage with her live in the room with us.
Absolutely. And one of my great colleagues at USC, she listened to one of my episodes and she describes my laugh as a deep belly gut laugh. And it's so funny because there's a lot of comments, whether it's a review or comments on YouTube, of literally people saying, I come back for Tiana's crazy laugh. And I'm like, wow, yep, it's a thing. It's a thing. Like, someone literally wrote, we need a compilation of Tiana's laughs. And I'm like, yeah, I know you're not getting the laugh here right now, but it's perfect. It's so perfect how she described it. Deep gut belly laugh. That's what it sounds like. It comes from the gut. It comes from within, deep.
I love that, because so many people get rid of the real personality, a little bit of a pause, or they'll get rid of the giggles, because I giggle. I don't laugh, I giggle. They get rid of those elements of who you are. I'm like, seriously, no.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know that part of you, because it makes you human, it makes you real, and it makes you want to be friends. Like, you're building a relationship, even though there's not a two-way conversation going on.
Yeah, but the fact that people consistently coming back, like, that's your relationship right there. They come back every week. The fact that people come back every week, you know how to make people come back every week. That's a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very long-term one, hopefully, that's what we're all after.
Right. Exactly. And that's really it. That's it. I think she described my laugh so perfectly. I never heard anyone describe my laugh like that before. And it's perfect. It's perfect. It's so obnoxious.
I love it. So if you want to hear that laugh in the room and get to meet Tiana in person, not just her amazing podcast online and her strategic help that she can bring to you and your podcast, join us in Washington, D.C., October 9th through 12th, 2026. Get in the room with Women Getting Visible. Go visit the website, womengettingvisible.com. for amazing speakers just like Tiana. Thank you for joining this episode. I'm Christina.
I'm Amy. And we will see you in the room.
Who's up next in the Golden Chair? Join us for Washington, D.C. 2026 and find out.
Women getting visible!
Voice, value, and visibility. Get in the room with women getting visible. Could your community be next? Partner with Women Getting Visible to create extraordinary opportunities for women in your community.